This is just going to give you an idea of what my personal workflow is, the way I've done things. There are tons of other ways to do it. This is just the way I do it. Give you an idea of what my setup is. I have my MacBook Pro laptop, which I usually use. I have the external drive, which is my Lightroom drive, and I have the SD card taken out of my camera and put right in the side there. I go down to Lightroom, click on Lightroom, and that opens up Lightroom. Just wait a little while for it to open up. To import photos, I go down the lower left-hand corner right here where it says Import. And usually when you click on Import, it will automatically realize that there are files on the SD card, because as soon as you want to import the ones from the SD card, you can see some of them are grayed out. The reason they're grayed out is because I didn't reformat the card before I took some additional photos for this as an example. Usually I reformat the card before every shoot so that the card is clean and any images that I shoot for that period of time will be on that card. And we go down to here. These are some of the images that I shot, just as to use as an example for this. So what I'm going to do is go down here to the bottom, say uncheck all, click on the first one, go down to the last one, hold the shift down and click on it. That selects everything from the first click to the last click. Check that box, so now they are all checked. And so the path is, if you look at the top, the path is from the SD card, as it says from the SD card. I'm going to copy the images from the SD card. Just follow this arrow. I'm going to copy the images from the SD card to my Lightroom drive. Now, where on the Lightroom drive? I'm now going to go down here to where it says destination. Click on the plus. And the reason I'm clicking on the plus is I'm going to add a directory for it to go into. It says create new directory. Pops up. I go down to my Lightroom drive. Double click on that. It's going to go into subfolder photo for Lightroom. And I'm going to create a new folder. Clicking on new folder. Name of that folder would be 2018-11 because I shot it today. And that it will be, what was it? Lightroom, help if I could spell, Lightroom computer setup. Create. And say choose. So these will now go, when I click import over in the lower right hand corner, when I click import, these photos will go into the import. So you click on that and you just have to wait. You'll see the bar at the top, top left hand corner over here, will show you the progress. And you just kind of have to wait. Sit around, have a cup of coffee, do whatever you want to do, and wait until the bar is gone and all of the photos are imported. There we go. So just to show you now, all of the photos are imported, and that's in the library file. Let's pick a photo that we want to edit. Let's pick this one right here. Double click on that. Go to develop. To the develop module. These are the 5 modules that are available in Lightroom. Library, develop, book, slide room, print, and web. The 2 I use most of the time are the library and then develop. So here, it's probably a little underexposed because I was trying to shoot it at a certain shutter speed and I was too lazy to bring some lights. But this will show you the ability that you have. So let's start doing some editing. If you go over here to this panel, this is the basic panel. There's a basic, tone curve, split toning, detailing, transform, effects. Most of the editing that I do is right here in the basic panel. So let's click that down. And when you look at the basic panel, let's go top to bottom. This is the temperature is your white balance. If you're shooting in RAW, you can adjust the white balance if you made a mistake during your importing or during your picture taking. You can adjust the tint. You can adjust the exposure, the contrast, the highlights, the shadows, the whites, the blacks, the clarity, the vibrance, and saturation. So looking at this, it's a little dark. So let's bump up the exposure just a bit to my liking. Let's add a little clarity. Clarity usually adds some sharpening. What it does, it actually adds contrast to the midtones. And let's go up to the white temperature, white balance. Cool it down a little because I tend to like the coolness side versus the warm side. Let's add the exposure up a little bit more. Decrease sharpen the blacks. Maybe add a little bit more clarity. Bring up the highlights just a bit. Boost the shadows a little. And then we'll go down to details. Details, we'll add a little bit of sharpening. And that's about it for the basics. That brings it to where I wanted this image to be. Just to go through some of these things, this will actually add some cropping. You click on that, and you can take these handles, move them in, move them out, bring this up, bring this up, bring this down. You go over here, just outside of the box, you'll see in the lower left-hand corner, it turns to a rotation icon. You can rotate them around, do whatever you want to do to your liking. Bring that in a bit, double click, and that's the end. So I'll just add a little bit of vibrancy into that. Boost the whites up a little bit. Maybe add a little bit more exposure. Okay, so, and what I usually do is once I've edited it and I like it and it's the way I want it to do it, I'll click on the flag just to flag it. And now, as you know, we're in the library mode. You're still in the, as you see here, you're in the individual picture. If you want to go back to see all of the pictures, lower left-hand corner, click this right here, which is the grid mode, which shows all the photos. All right, so let's select another photo. Let's let's go with this one. Again, go into the develop module, into the basic, add a little bit of exposure, add a little bit of clarity. I'm a big fan of clarity. I don't know why, but I always like the clarity. Brighten the shadows up a little bit. Blacken a little bit. And so I want to use this. This is going to be, I don't know, what's that tape on there? I want to use, let's look at another thing. If you go up here to the base, above the basic module, we talked about this being the cropping tool, the grid. Let's go, this is a radial filter. So what the radial filter does, is you click on radial filter, it makes a circle, it'll make a circle, or an ellipse, or whatever you want it to be. And as you can see, I have that circle here. And it's sort of a spot filter. The way it is now, when I hit exposure, it actually will affect everything outside of the circle. So as you can see, it's darkening anything outside of the circle. So I do that, click, hit escape, that gets me out of that. And now back into the basic panel. So now I'm just going to brighten everything up. And add a little black. Again, add a little bit of that. Add a little clarity. And that kind of shows you this is my Lightroom drive. Trying to figure out what that piece of tape is on there. Lightroom, as it says, Lightroom Drive. It's going into the laptop, and this is the card. So go back to the library module. I'll click that as a flag. Go back to the grid in the lower left-hand corner, and that kind of shows me all the images. So that's basically what it is in importing photos. It's pretty simple. Once again, you put your SD card in. You put your external drive, plug your external drive in. Go down to the bottom, click Lightroom. Lightroom will open up. Once Lightroom opens up, it'll open up into, typically opens up into this page. You probably won't see any of this over here because once you begin to build up images and folders, these are all the folders that are on that Lightroom drive. As you can see, they're starting all the way back to the 2017 drive, all the way up to those shots today, all the way up to this one right here, which is 2017-11, the Lightroom computer. And so, now that we have those images, let's look at some filtering. As you can see, I flagged both of these. So if you go up here to attributes, and this is really just a viewing filter, go up to attributes, you'll see another menu down here. If you hit flag, it will now just show you just the photos you've flagged. If you want to see all the other photos, unclick this. Now there's no filter at all. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll flag photos and then go, after I've flagged them, that's my first level of filtering. I'll go through and do whether it's 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star. Nothing ever really gets to be a 5 star. But that way, that gives me the ability to sort it differently. I can go back to the attributes. I want to see the ones that are flagged and 2 stars and above. If I do that, if I click on this, oh, sorry, wrong one. Click on this. It shows me just the flagged ones. Let's say I put this one as two stars. That's 2 stars. So now if I want to see anything that's above 1 star, that'll come up. See anything that's above 2 stars, that'll still come up because it's 2 stars. Want to see everything above 3 stars, that one won't show because it's only 2 stars. So if I go back to the 2 stars, that'll show. If I go back to, if I want to get back to no stars, you have to click 1 and then click 1 again. So those are the 2 images I want to export. So in order to export them, I go down here, lower left-hand corner. Well, I actually click 1, click again, click the first one, shift, and click. That gives me both of them. The other way you can do it is if you want to click 1, hit the command key and click. That's if you, the command key is if you want to do a random selection. If you want to say select this one, and then this one that's over here, and then this one's over here, use the command. It's a basic Mac command level. But anyway, these 2 are selected. Go to export. The export folder will pop up. I've already filled in some things. It'll already, if you just go to choose, you can select where you want the exported images to go. Mine typically go to my document drive, hard drive on the laptop, into a folder called exported photos, and usually I add another folder, put in the folder. This folder will be called this folder will be called Lightroom Camera Setup. You can go down here, file naming. Usually I just use the file name. File settings, image settings. Usually, if I'm just going to put it up on the web, I will check the resize to fit the long edge, resolution 1000 pixels wide. And if I want to just send a raw image as high as large as possible, then I unclick this one. This one I usually reduce it in size because it's going on the web. There's really no reason to put a large file on a web page. Sharpen for screen. I usually add my little watermark here. If you unclick that, there won't be a watermark. This puts my name in the lower left-hand side. Go there, click export, go up to the left-hand corner. You'll see the progress screen going. Sometimes it goes quickly, sometimes it doesn't. And it's done. So those images, those two images have now been exported out. And so I can now take those and either upload them to Facebook, send them to somebody, email them. Usually what I'll do is I'll email them to myself, so I'll have them on my phone. And then from the phone I can send them. But that's about it. That's the principles of importing a photo, the principles of editing a photo, and the principles of exporting a photo. Once again, it's just click on the photo. If you want to edit it, go into the develop module and do what you want to do with it. I mean, go have some fun. Play with some of these things. Bring an image in, move these dials, see what it does. If you ever get screwed up and you don't like the way it works, go right down here to the bottom to reset, and it resets everything. And the other thing you can do, if you want to experiment, let's actually do this. Let's uncheck this. What I did, I unchecked the flag. So now all the images are there. So let's say you have this image that you like. Let's go back to this. Let's say you have this image that you like. And you want to try and edit it, but you're not really sure of whether you want to affect it or not. Go all the way up here, push all the way up. This will unveil another menu. Go to photo. Go down where it says create virtual copy. And if you create what it'll do is create a duplicate of this image. This is the one of two. This is the copy of this one. So what you can do is then, let's go back. I know sometimes I go a little fast. Double click on this. Again, you're in the library module. Double click on this. Go over to develop. Because now we're going to develop. We're going to do some editing. Again, we're back to our favorite little basic panel. Now we're going to do some editing of this image. We'll bring up the exposure. Add a little clarity. Bring up some shadows. Maybe add a little bit more exposure. Add some vibrance. Add some, like I said, play with, take these keys, move it all the way over. Move it all the way over. See what it does. Saturation bumps the colors up. If you desaturate it and take the saturation all the way out, take all the color out, it becomes a black and white image. But anyway, and if you ever want to go back to where it was, double click the name. It goes back to its original setting. The other way, just to give you, not to go off on a tangent, but the other way to turn something into black and white is go down to the HTML color of B and W, click B and W, turns to black and white. If you want to get back to it, hit Control Z. Control Z will always undo the last command. Back to the basic panel. We can add some contrast, a lot of contrast, little contrast, no contrast. We can bump up the highlights. We can brighten the shadows, darken the shadows, brighten the shadows. We can brighten the whites, tone down the whites. It's all about you become an artist of your own photo. You start with an image, you capture the image, and then you begin to create your image. And to get out of Lightroom, you go up here, Lightroom, quit Lightroom. When you quit Lightroom, it automatically saves everything, so all your images are saved. You'll see this. Most of the time I will hit backup, and what it does, it creates a backup file. Sometimes I'll hit skip the backup file this time. If I'm in a hurry, I'll hit skip this time, and we're done. And that's it. So if you follow along, now it's time for you to go try it yourself. Throw in a couple of images, take 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or 12 photos. Throw them on the card, stick them in your laptop, bring up Lightroom, and give it a shot.